Hello everyone, welcome to Meet the Mondays. We're about to go live on Jolt Radio any second now, so stay tuned.
I'm gonna bring you in 2 seconds.
What?
It'll take a few seconds. Cristian Portilla. And you can share from there. You see each other? Inception style? Nice. Vete a mi perfil. Cristian Portilla.
You gotta go to her page.
Oh my god, I can
You can see yourself. It's like that's meta
Let me see.
stuff.
Oh, cool.
pretty cool.
What's her page?
You gotta put her here. Put her name down, and you'll find it.
That is.
Okay, guys, are you guys ready?
We're ready. Phones on silent, and we should be good.
Okay, so 3. Three, two, is that right?
This world we live in, that we happen to find ourselves alive during, is full of activity. There's things going on all the time. Now that we have greater access to seeing them happen in front of us, it gets confusing and sometimes painful. But in the end, love sets it all free. So let's love. That's the only answer. From the soul, y'all.
Hello world, welcome to Meet the Mondays on Jolt Radio. I'm your host, Cristian Portilla, aka Roam Free Rights, and today we're speaking with members of the trans community in South Florida and talking about the first ever trans prom. I'm here with Ariana Lint from Mariana Center and Trans Latina, and Carson Graham and Tatiana Williams from Trans Women in Need of Services and co-founders of TransInclusive Group. Say hi everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome. First, I'd like to introduce you all to what these people are doing in the community, what these resources are. So, TransInclusive Group's mission is to advocate and work in collaboration with community partners in efforts to build trust and relationships within the South Florida transgender community. They want to reduce barriers to healthcare, housing, education, employment, and provide resources and leadership to a population that has been marginalized and disadvantaged. And Ariana Lint is a transgender woman and director of the Trans Latina Coalition, the South Florida chapter. She also started members of the Trans Latina Coalition, or TLC, and they are transgender Latina leaders who come together from all across the country, donating their time to organize and advocate for issues of the trans Latina community. I'm so happy to have you all here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
So I want to begin by talking to you, Carson and Tatiana, about how we all came together. What is TransInclusive? What does that stand for? What is the ideology behind being TransInclusive when it comes to the LGBTQA and cisgender community? Maybe Tatiana, you want to go first?
TransInclusive was introduced after I met Carson. In the beginning, it was trans women in need of services because I understood the services that the trans women were in need of from the community. However, after meeting him, I come to find that some of the trans men encounter some of those barriers as well. So that's what started the TransInclusive Group. So when people hear TransInclusive, they automatically think trans umbrella, which is kind of the same thing, but the inclusive is for inclusive care for the trans population. That's where the TransInclusive comes from. And moving forward in the process, once you see the organization, you will understand how we get to TransInclusive. It's to provide education, job opportunities, and some of the things that would help the trans men and women become productive in society.
Yeah, just like Tatiana said, you know, once we met, we collaborated on so many different ideas, and you know, she comes from the trans woman standpoint, I come from the trans man standpoint, and the point of the matter was we knew what was needed in the community, you know, going based off our experiences, but also talking to other people, and we want to bring more voices in front for the trans community, so that's what we're doing. So, yeah.
Nice. What were some of the things that you felt were some barriers when you were facing this and going through this?
Well, you know, some of the personal things I've had to go through, you know, you go through the name changes and you go through healthcare, and, you know, you deal with healthcare providers that may not know a lot about the trans community, so, you know, you also have to educate them a little bit. So, and it can be expensive, too, for some people, so, you know, it's all about educating and helping other people so they know how to help the transgender community properly, so,
Right.
yeah.
That makes sense. Ariana,
Hello.
get a little bit closer to the
Yes.
mic. Okay, awesome. What is trans inclusive to you, and as a trans Latina woman, what does that mean to you?
Well, I have a friendship with Tatiana and Carson for a long time. So for me, I think this is one of the most stronger group in South Florida right now, and they include everybody. Also, I am one of the sponsors. My agency is one of the sponsors, and collaborate hand to hand to make visibility for the transgender community in South Florida more more visible, more visible, and also with respect, right? Because a lot of persons they don't understand what is transgender mean, you know, and we are opposite and everything, and we are very people we want to work together.
Absolutely. And so, speaking to that point, in terms of Trans Inclusive, the organization, right? What is that organization stand for? What type of work is happening there, or what do you want to do for the trans community?
What we will begin to do in the near future, it will be a referral agency. And being that I'm one that have a lot of connections within agencies to try and help and supportive services from the community to bridge that gap when it comes to building relationships and trust with the transgender community, that's important. So hopefully that we will be able to work within community and bring those resources back to the group and to people that could use those resources. Because when it comes to trans women, and I realize it with trans men, there's more discrimination out there than you can imagine.
Wow.
So when it comes to barriers, we face a lot of those on a daily basis. You would think now in 2017 that we have passed that, but we actually are still in that process, as you can see in some of the current things that are happening today. So we're constantly fighting through this struggle. So TransInclusive would hope to help break some of those barriers and bring all inclusion to the all inclusion to the population.
Absolutely. What part of what's the process like right now? What stage are you in for Trans Inclusive group?
We would be in the back to me.
Might as well.
we are in the beginning stages. That's a part of the prom because this is one of the fundraisers.
Right.
So with the fundraisers, we'll be able to get the signage because we want to do a lot of outreach within community. So we don't have T-shirts. We don't have a lot of things that you would need as a grassroots agency to do the work.
Right.
So we have to figure out a way to raise funds to help the organization so we can start to do the work for the community.
Okay. And Ariana, what's your story and how did you get involved in this type of work? Ariana Center, Trans Latina.
Well, actually, my life is no different like many transgender life in United States, right? I am a Latina. I born in Lima, Peru, where I finished my career over there like a lawyer. But I cannot develop like a lawyer career in my country, be a transgender. So that's why I'm immigrant to United States. And when I coming over here, the country of the opportunities, this is what I am now. 20 years later, I am Mariana Lin, who is the CEO of one a community-based organization led by one transgender woman. And for me, it's very happiness. I feel blessing what I can, the job I can do, and everything in my life will happen. But actually, my agency, we already provide services to a lot of transgender community. We have close to 300 to 350 clients where we change name, we linkage in services, and also we empower and educate the transgender community in South Florida area to get more visibility, or what is the more important, right? And also we provide trainings, and actually I'm activist, national activist. So I bring the voice of the transgender community from South Florida on national levels.
Nice.
Last year we was 3 times in White House. We are consulting for the CDC. We do this kind of job, this kind of work. For me is very important because a lot of people they don't understand the transgender community, and they cannot believe one transgender community or one transgender individual can do or can building something, and that's what is my passion.
That's a lot of girl power.
Yes, trans power.
A lot of trans power, yes. And what is the difference then between the work of Trans Latina and what you do at your own outreach center, Ariana Center?
Yes, well, Trans Latina is a national organization. We provide trying to have a better quality of life for all transgender Latinas or Latinx in United States, right? But when I coming over here in Florida and I trying to open my organization, be more inclusive, even if I'm not transgender, have to be more inclusive. Trans Latinas have need services, but also women of color, a person who bore white people, white transgender, you know, all kind of races. They need a lot of support for the transgender, because a transgender community, we are four times more poverty like the other communities, right? We don't have the same education like other ones. Like you go to the university and you don't see a university college students who is a transgender. No
It's
much,
not the majority,
right?
yeah.
Yes. So we are very behind. But what we think is it's not impossible. When people they really recognize us like a person, like an individual, they can give us the whole tools to survive and have a better quality of life in the United States.
Absolutely. So coming from Trans Latina in a big organization, how did you know that it was time to branch out and to open Ariana Center and have something that was yours?
I'm serving my community-based organization, my agency, focuses specific and people and what the people they don't want to touch, right? Transgender Ariana Center provides services for the trans Latin community, transgender who faces sex work for survivor teens, transgender who they are living with HIV, transgender who they are homeless, transgender who they are incarcerated, and when they living they have no option for that. So that is the community I touch, right? I working with those communities, and I after 2 years I opened my organization. I'm very proud that transgender community have the trust in myself and in my job and my work, and they can have a better life after they provide the services. We are not change life, you know. We don't from poor to put the people a millionaire, but what we can do is when you do a name change on one transgender person, you change the entire life, the entire journal of their lives, right?
Absolutely.
You help to change. They have other vision, other
to
options.
be recognized, to
Yes,
be seen.
you know, and they feel so comfortable, and that's why we made like more of 350 name change like in 2 years and on 3 years.
You facilitated that.
Yes, we are like I'm not have the license in the United States, so I'm not a lawyer, but I not provide legal services.
Right.
But what I do is I acting like a peer, like a person helping others
In
and
the
fill it up
process.
and the process and everything. And like a name change over here is an administrative process is more easy for us. But also we provide a case manager for transgender who living with the HIV. or transgender who they are sex worker and they want to have access to medical care because they don't want to share needles buying hormones at the street because the insurance don't cover the hormones. So we have a very, very unique needs in our community, and that's what I'm trying to be the expert in helping my other sisters and brothers.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you.
And Carson, bringing that back to you and also asking you the same thing, how did you know that it was time to do something like TransInclusive group, and how did that begin for you?
Right. Well, I mean, I've always wanted to be, okay, so like some of the trans men, a lot of them, once they transition, they kind of back away from the community. We call it being stealth, where eventually you just keep everything as, to yourself. You transition, be private about everything. I wanted to be an example of that you can do anything that you want to do. Just because you're trans doesn't mean that you can't do what you want to do. It doesn't stop. There's no end of the road. So when I met Tatiana, she's really empowered me to do a lot of different things that I probably would have never seen myself doing a long time ago. And we've come a long way. We even have our group that is every Thursday, and that's at 7 o'clock. And then we also have end of every month of the Thursdays, we have an open group. So
at the Pride Center.
At the Pride Center right now, Wilton Manors. And that's been going really good. We do it every single week, and we've come a long way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Tatiana, do you want to add anything to that? How have you seen Carson change since he's taken this role and this responsibility along with yourself?
Well, I can honestly say I've seen him grow, because for me, I came in community, understanding community. After being in transitions for over 28 years, I understand different generations of transitioning. So when I was transitioning, it was something totally different than the way that people are transitioning today. So there's a lot of new and different things. And I was able to help him along with some of the process, educating him to understand what it looks like coming from back in the days when I transitioned. And with the TransInclusive group, that was most important to me is the fact that when I was involved in a lot of groups in community, I would see there was a lack of a certain population in the community.
Such as?
And it goes back to what Ariana stated about her working for the Latino community. And what I noticed that I had a reach when it came to the African American community because of my background and because of my history being involved in pageantry. So I had a in already. And I wanted to give something back to the community and help them with something that they could hold on to better themselves in life. It was beautiful to look at me for the glitz and the glamour. But after the shine is gone, then what do these people have? Mm-hmm. So I knew I had to go and target that population, which is the African American population. And being that I am the community co-chair for the Broward County Health Department it's the HIV Prevention Trans Advisory Group for the Department of Health, I started to see things. And when you're looking at the rates when it comes to HIV and the black population, it's very important and the numbers are very high. Yeah. So I knew it was something that I needed to do within that LGBT community to kind of help get that awareness out to that population.
Absolutely. And, Carson, you said something that I've noticed as well, that sometimes when you transition, you sort of have to erase that part of your life that you were before. Yeah. So it's very nice to see that you are taking all of these experiences and putting them out there to help other people as well. Right. If you're just tuning in, you are listening to Meet Them Mondays on Jolt Radio. Today we're speaking with the transgender community and speaking about the first ever trans prom, which I'm very excited about. We'll be getting into that in a few. But first, we're going to be talking about something that... Okay, there's a word that they have for it, a tribe, right? When you find the people that are like you, your friends, your family, what that may be. And one thing that I notice a lot in the trans community and also in the LGBT community is that we try to create these tribes. And I can see that from a standpoint of someone that's going through these changes or feeling, suicidal thoughts and a lot of these things that these people go to. Having a tribe is very essential. Having someone that has your back or that can understand you. What is the mentality that I see from creating that tribe? And I know for Ariana Center and also for TransInclusive, hosting these groups at the Pride Center, it's very important to create that atmosphere of I got your back.
Right.
Why is that important for you? And maybe, Tatiana, you can go first.
It's important for me because it builds some type of trust, and that's important in community and that's why I always state building trust and relationships, because that's important. And when it comes to the transgender population, a lot of them have a problem trusting in, especially women. I'm not sure on the man's side, but I know with the trans women, trusting in individuals are very important, because you don't know what's real when you're in community, because a lot of people that will say they're there to help you will be there to use you. So it's very important how you build that trust. And when it comes to the group, what's beautiful to me is because when you have members, don't look at the group as a group, they look at it as a family. And that's what's important to me. We had someone to come in and they asked a question about role models. And some of the people pointed at me and hinted to me being a role model for them because it was able to help them come out of their shell. And that's very important, where you can get a person to relax and feel comfortable. Because if you can get them to open those doors, you can take them wherever you want them to. And as Carson said, meeting him, I empowered him. And that's very important to me, empower people. Because for me, I know I won't be there, and I don't always like the light on me. But I want to make sure I leave people with something that they can continue to do the work.
Absolutely. Carson, do you want to talk from
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah, for sure. You know, for me, I mean, once I decided to go for my transition, I mean, I started over. You know, I lost friends, I lost family, and like you said, with a tribe, is really important, because you get to a point where you feel like you're by yourself, and you know, when you don't know what to do and you don't know the process of things, you may need help with things. So that's why it's so important to find that ally or to someone in the community that can experience the same things with you or has already done so, like Tatiana has. And so yeah, it's really important.
And Ariana, I know for Ariana Center and in general, I know you're big on making sure to be that point of contact for the trans Latina community.
Well, yes, one of the points of my mission in my organization is one of the programs, Surviving and Thriving, right? And it's very important,
again?
Surviving and Thriving,
Surviving
because
and
transgender, we are survivors. I'm very proud right
Yes.
now, sitting and talking in the radio. I'm alive, right?
So
maybe
good to have you here.
Yes, and maybe I'm not proud what the some episode is in my life, what I have to do, I have to throw, not because I want, it's because other needs, and or something happens. So that is very important, right? So that's why it's important to transgender have them more leadership and visibility. And why no is one transgender, they can break barriers, right?
Yes.
We cannot just, a lot of people, they confuse us and they think a transgender, because they don't know us, we only have to do a shows or something like that. But we are not like that, you know. We are but
Advocates.
yes,
leaders.
I want to be a CEO from one organization, and what is the most important, to be the CEO from my own organization.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't believe in people thinking me like a role model, because you know my role model. I'm a real model. I'm a real model. Yes. It's more important like a role model, but we are real, because transgender community we faces is the only community you can let us naked in the street, and the next day we can have clothes, we can find
Yes.
something. We are
You
we know how we can survive.
Yeah. And so bringing that back to something that Tatiana and Carson mentioned, the meetings that are held at the Pride Center in Wilton Manors, I want to talk a little bit about that. And what do these meetings consist of? What are some of the topics covered? And what is a typical meeting like?
A typical meeting covers anything trans related. You know, in your personal life, there's some things that you may want to share, because a lot of times with trans individuals, you can't express how you really feel to others to get an understanding. So when you're in the company with people like yourself, you're able to express those feelings and not be judged and be understood, because more than likely we probably have experienced it before. It gives an opportunity and a door to open, and especially that meeting on the ending of the month, it's an opportunity for community to come in and they can get the knowledge. Any question or anything that they want to ask, they can ask, and we will let them ask it. Because some of us in the group are a little, I want to say, yeah, and some are a little stronger than others, and we like it raw. It doesn't matter how you come. You can come and we like, bring it on, baby, you know, whatever you want to ask, and we're open. So, and we don't, you don't have to be censored in things that you want to know or some of your understanding. And we do touch on current events, you know, like what's been going on in Virginia. We do talk about day-to-day living and day-to-day things. We don't want to just keep it so trans-related, because the truth of the matter is we do have to navigate in that world out there as well. Absolutely. So it's important how your brothers and sisters are feeling when it comes to what's going on outside, because that could affect them even in their daily living, even in their working, or whatever the case may be. So it's important that we encompass everything when we're in that meeting. And what I'm so gracious is, because I have to put this out there.
Yes.
I want to thank the Pride Center, and the group really appreciates the fact that they lend us a space with no charge to have this meeting. And understanding that this group belongs to its own self. It doesn't belong to an agency. So that in itself is a step up for an organization, because it's very, very difficult for organizations to have your backing without looking for something in return.
Absolutely.
I want to point out something. Yes. You know, yes, I think all the time when the people, they believe, they talking about LGBT community, the transgender community was behind of that community. We never have a space in that community what the gay or lesbian they have, you know. You have agency for lesbians and you don't see one transgender working over there. Or you have a gay agencies and you don't see a transgender working over there. You know, so it's very difficult for us put the visibility and so, but it's very important. This is a lesson learning together. You know, so that's what I want to point out about the some agencies, LGBT agencies like the Pride Center, like Povarello, who give me a space for my agency and for Lauderdale for free, you know, or Safe will give me a space over here in Miami for say some few organizations, because you know what, I never feel the discrimination for the gay or the trans or the gay or the lesbian, never in my life, until I trying to open my agency.
Oh, that's deep.
Okay, well, on that note, we'll get into that in a few, but we're going to go ahead and take a short break, and we'll be right back on Jolt Radio. This is Meet the Mondays.
Quick question, are we still good with the Facebook Live? Everything is still going?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Ooh!
You left them with some
Yes,
excitement.
that was very good. That was very good before you went to that break. Absolutely. Very nice. How's everybody feeling? Good. All right, awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. This is so important to me. And I love that you were mentioning about the things that are happening now, because I have some questions in there that I do want to address about the political climate. And I want to talk about the sentiments of the community and where you've all seen or felt. What are some of the things that the people are saying? I definitely want to get into that. It's important, you know, for us to talk about these things. So did you all know each other before?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Okay. I thought you two knew each other, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, we all know each other.
Ariana, and what's so interesting is that when I first came in, and I'll share this story now. When I first came in, they always would say that she was very angry. And
Does a Latina in you?
that she makes trouble, and I was like, no, but I don't let people tell me who's someone else.
Sure.
I always learn them for myself. I don't care what people say. I'll let you determine how I say who you are. That's how I do. Because being trans, you are always judged. Right. So I make a concerted effort not to pass judgment until I get to know the individual. Right. So I have to practice what I preach. So I let people present themselves to me. So I never had that problem with her. But I'll say this: when I started doing the work, when she left on the note, and the more and more I got in it, the more serious I got. I started to understand where the frustration came from.
Yeah.
And because I would feel like that's why she told you all who you are, what's happening, what's going on, because you get tired of playing the game.
Right.
when you know there are people around that are playing games,
Right.
and they need to move out the way and let people do the work.
Yes.
And so I understood it. So I see it differently. So it's nothing they can say to me because I know where that comes from.
Right.
And a lot of times in the LGB, they want to hide certain things because I don't think their intentions are to bring the trans people or trans women and trans leaders to the forefront. I think they just want to do the work for us and take the credit and not let us take credit for ourselves. I don't think they even want to do it. I really don't.
Right.
Because they put too many barriers
Right.
and too many roadblocks and try to blackball you when it comes to funding. And I think the government has to take a step back and kind of look at that and see what that looks like.
And it must be frustrating because you already have barriers within personal things and healthcare and politics, and so then to be feeling it from the people that you were supposed to feel like, hey, we're one and the same, it can only feel even harder on you, you know, to think like you're
so
supposed to be on my team.
so difficult to put that topic and everything.
Right, because it makes people get on edge.
Yes, it's stupid.
Yeah. No, but it's good. It's good that you brought that up, and we can get into that in a few. We have 30 minutes left of the show.
Yeah, and about
how many
10
more
seconds.
10 seconds of break.
Wrap
Well, and
up.
on that note, hello everyone. Welcome back to Meet Them Mondays on Jolt Radio. This is your host Cristian Portilla, and today we're speaking with some members of the trans community here in South Florida. And we were just getting into some spicy topics about the political climate, about what it's like to face some roadblocks on this path, you know. And so I guess we can just jump back into it. And I really wanted to tie something in because we were talking about the meetings that happen at the Pride Center. And so for people listening out there, if they wanted to come, just what do they need to know? What do they need to do to be able to come to these meetings? And you mentioned the last one is open to the public?
The last Thursday of each month is open to all LGBTQ and allies. So anybody that wants to come to the group can come. On each other Thursday, it's closed only for trans-identified individuals.
Okay.
So all that falls up under the trans umbrella is welcome to the group.
Okay, awesome.
And you guys can find us on Instagram, which is TransInclusive Group. You go to Facebook.com, it's also TransInclusive Group. So if you guys need to stay up to date with when the meetings are and what we're doing, any activities you want to show up to, you can find us there.
Ariana, do you have a calendar or something like that?
Yes.
Talk to us. How can the listeners
I'm
reach
trying
you?
to.
Yes.
Yes, you can find Ariana Center in our website, www.arianacenter.org, or you can find in the Facebook group, Ariana Center Trans Latina Florida.
Okay.
Or also they can contact me or they can call to the agencies and we can to service.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And so I wanted to get into something that you talked about, Ariana, because we were talking about some of the roadblocks and maybe some things that are hard for the trans community, such as maybe funding. So I'm curious to know, how do you get funding for your resources, for the resource center?
Wow, my agency and my work we did a lot of changes in the transgender community. Most the other agencies, they failed and they have the money, and we don't have the financial support in the moment. After 2 years and after working very hard, like a volunteer, I passed homeless last year and everything. Now some agencies, they are open for the transgender community and they know, they really no profits. Foundations, they contact me and they invite me to apply for grants, and they start give me some financial resource or support, right? I just have support from AIDS United from Washington DC for one project for 8 months for leadership transgender.
Wow.
Women
Okay.
of color. So that's why it's some kind of organizations, and also we're looking for more fundings and everything, but also the capacity building for us is difficult. That's what I say is a lesson to learning together, because for me it's so difficult. I applied for grants. English is my second language.
But you're making it work.
Yes.
But, yeah, but
Three
but
steps
don't
to
tell me right. But yes, so it's very difficult. But I think I have a lot of support from the community, the real allies, and now we are starting getting funding. We have a budget less of other agencies. They have $1 million. We don't have too much, but also we start getting, and we don't stop in getting, and ask for the funding for do the work.
So anyone out there that want to put some coins into Ariana Center, make sure to reach out.
Well, I don't think just Ariana Center.
Yes.
I think the
It's for the
transgender community is working together in Florida.
Yes.
I'm so proud and I'm so happy. 3 years or 4 years ago when I moved to South Florida, I don't see a community. Today I see a very strong community, and that's what my old dream was, right? All the time I say, why San Francisco? Why New York? Why Chicago? They have a stronger agency for transgender community. They have a transgender workers, transgender amazing persons working over there. Why Florida don't have services for transgender? That's why Sansa was one organization contract me, made me moving from Orlando to here 4 years ago to open the first program exclusive for transgender individuals, what I call Surviving and Thriving.
Right.
And after 2 years over there, I trying to open my own organization.
Okay.
Yes.
And switching now to still on the funds topic though, for TransInclusive group, we know that this weekend is the first ever trans prom, TransInclusive prom, and for TransInclusive group, this is how you'll be allocating funds to be able to do the type of work that you're doing.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. This is so big for the community. It's a big win. Absolutely. How did this idea come about, Carson? Like,
well, okay. So anytime we do an event or anything we want to do, we come to a vote with the group. So this was actually voted upon the group, and we wanted to do a prom. So we decided to do an LGBT prom. It is open to allies because we really wanted to bring the community together, but we've never seen the trans community actually be the forefront of an event happening, and that's what's the fun part about it. And it's about being your authentic self, because a lot of people didn't get to do that when they went to prom. I know I didn't. So we wanted everybody to come as themselves and have a really good time with we're a place where we all can share the same experience and everything. So, yeah.
Okay. And so the idea for the prom came about through the group, but when you were deciding on this in the group, what was the significance of prom? Or Ariana?
Yes, I can answer that.
Yes.
When I do training to providers, all the time I use. In the end of my training, I say, close your eyes, and remember, anything happen in the whole day. You can have a bad day. You can have a screaming or yelling from your bus. You don't have a money. You can walk or whatever. You don't see the eclipse. Whatever happened, right? But when you go to your home, to your house, and you open your door or from your room, you can see one picture, one photo. When you have a wedding, when you have a prom, the graduation, something you can be proud about yourself, no matter what happened in that day. For me, I cannot have a picture of my prom, because in those moments I have to wear I have to wear men clothes where I don't feel comfortable, Yes. So for me, this event is very carefully, and very deep.
Close to your heart.
Yes, because a lot of transgender, they can have that picture no matter what happened in your life, no matter what's happened, what bad things happen in your life. When you saw that picture, you can feel proud and comfortable at yourself, like everybody, people in the United States have to feel.
Absolutely. And let's get into some of the details. So who's invited to go? What is the cost? What can people expect?
Everyone is invited within community. The cost is $25 for one person and $40 for the couple. It's going to be at 2440 West State Road 7 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, zip code 33312, and it's at the Roadway Inn. That spelling would be RODE, Way Inn. And it's off of State Road 84. And the event will come with food, good food, not just, anything, good food. Yes, all you can eat, as much as you want to eat. We're going to have a photo booth. We're going to have the step and repeat, the red carpet. It's going to be the whole prom experience with a little elevation. Beautiful decoration to give you where you can take these memories, as Ariana said, and say, I went to a prom, or you can feel like you attended your prom. So we're hoping that we can give that experience to the trans women and men, or even some of the gender non-conforming people, non-binary, that didn't have the opportunity to do things that they wanted to do when it came to their prom. Because sometimes when you're gay, you make it happen with no problem, but when you're trans, that experience and being ostracized can really, really hurt. So this is a way to just be yourself.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's happening on Saturday, August 26th at 8 p.m.
Yes.
Before
That
the
is
auditorium.
correct.
Yes.
And I just wanted to add something. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so, and don't forget, we are going to have a Crying of King and Queen, so anybody can actually run for that. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
The night of?
Yeah, the
That's
night of the
awesome.
prom.
And
yeah.
what's the theme of the prom?
It's a red carpet Hollywood theme. So you guys are the stars of the night.
Oh, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. And when you were planning this and planning an event that's so special, like prom is, like Ariana said, what did you learn about your community? What was the process like of planning something like this? And maybe what were some of the feelings?
It was a long, tedious process, and we didn't know what to expect. And I sent sponsorship letters out to a lot of people. And what was important to me is that the response was beautiful.
Wow.
It let me know that maybe the community is really trying to work with each other, because as we stated earlier, that it was very hard for organizations to try and work together if they don't own it. And I can honestly say they were no pushback. They were like, sure, that we want to support it. And I think that's part being is because we're very instrumental in the way that we market the group. And we make sure that rather if you want to accept it or not, you have to see we as trans-identified individuals want to do this, and we are supporting ourselves and doing our own work. And if you are here to do work within the community and for you not to see it, that means that you're doing a disservice to that population if you don't recognize it. And when they came aboard, it let me know that they see the work, and this is something that we need to continue to do with the community. And I'm hoping moving forward, as Ariana said, it can get bigger and greater, and we don't have to have a separation. We can all come together and have it in some convention center or something like that. That's what I'm hoping that would happen in the future.
Inclusive.
Yes.
And so now that we're on that topic of being supportive, I want to switch up the topic a little bit and get a little bit more serious. It's no surprise who our president is. It's no surprise what his feelings are in terms of the trans community. And, when he, made that announcement on Twitter that the trans community was no longer welcome to serve in the military, I'm kind of curious to know what the sentiment was like for the people in your, in your community, at the resource centers, at the meetings. How did you approach something like this, something so big that affects all of us?
The thing with me is that when it comes to Mr. Trump, I don't necessarily get surprised at anything that he do.
Right.
It's like I understand it. When he was elected president, although I didn't want to accept it, I accepted it. And I said, okay, well, we have to give him an opportunity to see. And sitting and watching him, you're like, I really want to see you make it work for us. And it's true. It came to fruition that he's just not for. I don't know which America he's for, but I don't think he's for the America that we live in.
Right.
And a lot of people within the group, they were saddened by it, but most of them understood the temperament and understood who we're working with as supposedly our leader. So when it comes to the trans population, as vulnerable as we may be at some times, but we are very, very strong.
Yes.
So we were able to overcome it, and don't let it pull us back, because you have to fight and we have to stay in the fight. And that's what I am about, advocating, pushing, building leaders so we can stay on top to make sure that whatever it is that he's trying to do, that we can come together in numbers and make sure that don't happen with the support of the whole community.
Okay, and Ariana,
Well, when I moved to United States from my country, I don't know who was the president of United States in that moment. I just want to work and make my dreams come true, right? After years, I know I coming in the Bush a time, right? And they say that he was the worst president, as you know. But I was available to make my things. Right now, I'm focused on my job. I focus on what I have to do and work until don't touch me personally, right? But I think transgender and all trans Latinas and all people, we are amazing.
yes.
And we are very strong, you know. And no matter what other people they want to make to you, you just have to work for you. And that's why we're trying to do. Actually, you know, in the beginning I asked, I working very personal, very close with communities nobody want to touch, like sex worker. But the whole sex worker, they are very happy with this administration because they are the first customers they visiting us.
Wow.
Yes, mi amor. So it's a lot of hypocrisy, and I think Mr. Trump have to need a session with one of my girls, so maybe they can have the change of the vision of United, because that's what he need. I think Melania don't do too much good job.
Oh no, you did. And so, you know, talking about this energy and talking about how, you know, the trans community is one and the same, but not one and the same, because not everyone is created equally and not everybody has the same needs. And so we have 10 minutes left of the show, but I really wanted to make sure that I spoke about this. We said earlier how your needs, Carson, are very different from yours, Ariana's, or yours, Tatiana's. What can you say to communities out there, outreach centers, doctors, anyone that has a hand in elevating this community?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the needs that you felt, you know, Carson, we're not available to you? And then we'll get into it with the ladies.
Okay. Well, you know, to all the big organizations that really want to start helping or stepping up, is that, you know, housing is important, jobs are important. You know, it's really important to also start showing up to these events and these meetings that are open to say, hey, you know, we want to see your faces to see what you guys really can do for us, and not just say I'm gonna do it, and really have trans people to also help you navigate on how to do those things, because like we've all said, building trust and relationships is very important, which is another part of our motto. So, you know, housing, jobs, and educating those companies to help, you know, how to hire and how to navigate the bathrooms and paperwork and all other stuff. So, you know, just start showing up and just wanting to be involved more with us, hands-on.
So you want to see more trans people in line with these people that have power to make change?
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, it's nothing like having, you know, a trans person is always going to have the drive and the passion to get something done, but, you know, organizations have to start working hand in hand with the trans community. So
and facilitate that action happening. Okay, and Ariana? For trans Latina?
For Trans Latina Ariana Center, right, and trans woman, it's very important because transgender community is a small community, but they don't have access to the all communities. They have access to different things, you know. The support of the family, your rejection of family. You don't know how the life of the transgender individual, the future life of the transgender individual is based on how your family support you. Thanks God, my mom and my father support me a lot. So that's what I can very more comfortable in doing my work and my job. But also, we have from 10 doctors, 7 refuse or referral one transgender individual because they don't know how they take care. So that's why when people they say, "Oh, I am an expert in transgender," I can say Ariana Lin and Miami say is no expert in the transgender community. It's a learning together. It's an experience of learning together. We have a high rate in HIV infections in Miami. Not just the transgender community, what is a high rate, but Miami is one of the first cities in high rates. We have a discrimination in job and housing. People. I have right now 7 transgender who they dealing with housing day by day, and this is a life, a survivor life. But I don't think it's a life we have to feel or we have to pass just because I am a transgender or we are a transgender. I think we have the tools and we have a lot of opportunity. If they give we just need opportunity.
Yes.
If somebody give the opportunity, we take it, and we don't left the opportunity. Nothing.
Epa.
We take it all away, baby.
And Tatiana, for trans women of color?
For me, what's important that I've noticed with agencies, I think that if this is to reach people to understand that we are not just a deliverable, to only count us as a number. And a lot of the agencies use us just for a number to meet a deliverable for a grant. And you're taking people's lives for granted. You're taking people's lives that are coming and looking for you to help them navigate through the process of life. It's important that you think about that. And when it comes to some of these CEOs, I wonder how they sleep at night, because it's beautiful to get the funding. And it may be good for you to do whatever it is that you need to do, but these girls and guys are hoping that can help them better their lives. That's very important. When it comes to outreach, you have to understand what that outreach look like. As Ariana spoke earlier about sex workers and girls, these women live in the trenches and they connect to each other. And that's why it's important that we put people in position that can connect to these people, that understand you are my sister, I am your sister, you are my brother, I'm your brother. And that's important. But being that the agencies have been rooted in community for so long, the funders just automatically give them the money in hope that you're supposed to do right by the work, when in actuality they don't. So if you can't do the work, if you are an organization and you know that that population needs to be reached and you can't reach them, bring those women and men in to do that work. If you really want to help the community, it's time for us to stop looking at it from a dollar figure and look at it from a health and a mental physical and mental backing, to make sure that you're helping that population. That's the only way that we will change what it looks like in America today.
That was so powerful. Yes, there's so many goosebumps. We have 5 minutes left, but I'm so grateful that you're all here, that you're speaking on this, because it's so essential. And what's happening this weekend, the first ever TransInclusive Prom. For the listeners out there, if you'd like to go, if you want to be a part, if you're an ally, if you have a friend that could use a community, if you want to know more about the community, if you want to be educated, this is where you need to be. This is where your community is. And community is also about showing up.
Yes.
Showing up and being there.
And I think so the community and the people over here in Miami, they have to have the chance, give the chance to know us better, more deeper, right? More personal. We are already neighbors. We are already residents over here. We already use the same bathrooms. We already use the same court. And I think they have to have the chance to learn more about us, about our life. And I think the people, they don't believe, or they have issues, or they don't questions about who we are transgender. When they know us and they know what we pass, they going to understand how people is. Transgender people is amazing. It's people. It's amazing. We are beautiful.
Absolutely.
We are hard workers. We are very, very, very unique community. And that's why we want to. That is more the desire of the whole community. Other people know better us and accept us better to us.
I agree with you. When I post a lot of things on social media as well, as an ally and as a big supporter, sometimes I get pushback from people. And I've told them before, if you don't understand, go speak to someone.
Right.
Speak to one of your trans brothers and sisters.
Right.
Inform yourself before you're so quick to jump on one side of politics or the other. So with that being said, and staying in touch, how can we as listeners, as a community, stay in touch with all of this information with each other? Ariana, how can people stay in touch with Ariana Center and with you?
Yes, well, they can contact or they can follow us in their Facebook page, Ariana Center, Trans Latina Florida. Also, we have the website and the telephone number, 786-600-1915. That is the hotline. You can call and you can ask questions about services for transgender. Maybe you are not a transgender, but maybe you know somebody, they can have a services. Or maybe you pass questions in your family and say, why your son or your daughter acting different? And that is the persons we needed in our agency to help and to understand what is a transgender is.
Beautiful.
It's nothing bad. It's everything good.
And Carson, how can people stay in touch with TransInclusive Group?
You guys can find us on Instagram, TransInclusive Group, TIG17 on Twitter, and you can also find us on Facebook, which is facebook.com TransInclusive Group. So you can keep in touch with us and know when we're having events and our meetings. And of course, if you decide to buy tickets, which you should, because you don't want to miss out, use www.tigprom.com.
Awesome. And that's for the TransInclusive Prom happening this Saturday at 8 p.m. And Tatiana, your resource center and where you work for the help.
That will be Care Resources, the resource center that we're using at this time. And the Pride Center, some of the resources that we have there. But the Care Resource is the resource center that we're using at the current time. And Carson is holding out because he's a very good IT person. I have to put this out there. And he does all the marketing, he does all the flyers, and he's working on the website as we speak for the organization. So it should be coming up really soon.
Okay, and if they want to stay in touch with you personally, how can they reach you?
You can reach me, Tatiana Williams, at 305-942-1539. And people do call me and ask questions about the group and how can I help them. And we have any resources that you may need. So if you reach me and if it's something that Ariana Center can do, I would definitely transfer you over there as well, because it's all about connecting for me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll make sure to link all of this information on RoamFreeRights.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to Meet the Mondays, and make sure to check us back next month in September 11th and September 18th for another show of Meet the Mondays on Jolt Radio. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Can I say something really quick?
Yes.
Okay. In November, Ariana Center and all of us, we're getting ready for it's the Transgender Month. So stay in contact and look at the website, because we're working on some events for the month of November. And on November the 20th, we have Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is going to be an amazing event. So we're orchestrating some good things. So people, please stay in touch, because that's the month for transgender men and women.
And what's the website again?
You can go to Carson.
For the prom or
Ariana Center,
Ariana Center.
or TransInclusive,
TransInclusive on
or
Facebook.
any group who is led by one transgender individual. We are connecting. We are not only have
so it's
other.
a network.
Yes, we are very communicate each other all the time.
You can always send
awesome.
an email to transinc17@gmail.com.
I got one more thing. On September the 14th, you have the South Florida Transgender Medical Conference.
That's right.
You can go on either one of our websites. You can go to TransInclusive Group and you can find it. It's on September 14th, and it's to educate medical providers and students.
Okay.
So that will be good here, and it's huge, and it's free.
Okay, I'll make sure to link
Yes.
that too on the website.
Okay.
So all the information that you have, I'll put it on RoamFreeRights.com.
Yes.
It'll all be there, and I'll make sure to connect you with everyone in the community. Thank you so much for listening to Meet the Mondays on Jolt Radio. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was so
Well,
good.
that was fun.
So glad you got that in there. Can we all like high five? Yes.
Get it in.
Yes. Oh my god. That was so good. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, Ariana. Hi, how are you? I don't know who you are.
That is it for today. I have
Oh,
all
nice to
day.
meet you.
No, me either. That's why I'm moving.
Remember, we're still live on Facebook. Thank you everyone so much for watching.
Oh yes. Bye.
Bye.
I'll make sure to link all the information in roamfreerights.com. You stopped it already? Okay, no. And Carson?
Don't miss out.
That was so good.